welcome to Thinking Green. I'm Rana, and we only have a couple more shows left before we go on our annual summer vacation. So today's show is going to be about Riverside Park and Hodges Square, the long neglected part of New London that's seeing something of a revival right now. My guest is Cathi Strother, who is both a founder and secretary of the Riverside Park Conservancy and a founder and chairperson for the Hodges Square Village Association. So we'll talk about all the different things that are happening in both areas, both on a volunteer basis and what the city's doing as well. So welcome, Cathi.
Thank you.
I guess, I mean, I know you live in the neighborhood, but maybe you want to give a little bit of a history of being involved with all the revitalization efforts that have happened.
There are a lot of things going on. I've been living in the neighborhood, Northeast New London, for about 16 years now with my husband, actually in his family home. We purchased it from the family. So he grew up in that home. So Riverside Park, as he calls it, is his backyard. So his brother was a lifeguard down at the beach in Riverside Park, and his mother worked in the bathhouse. So and also was a waitress down at Mr. G's. So talking about growing up in Hodges Square and Riverside Park, his family definitely did. We always went to Riverside Park when I started. We raised our grandson, who is now going to be 13, in Riverside Park. When they had the old metal playscape.
I remember that.
Do you remember that?
I do. I used to bring some of my students from Head Start on home visits.
So he grew up on that, and when they took it down, he would be like, "Grandma, where?" And I'm like, "What happened to it?" And I'm like, I made sure he wore long pants because that was a scorcher of a slide.
Yeah, it wasn't the safest equipment,
no,
but a
it
lot
wasn't.
of kids grew up on it.
Yeah, they did, and when they took it down, I understand why, but then we started with Save Riverside Park, and when the Coast Guard wanted to buy it, we were like, hell no. And a band of us got together, and the whole city and people from all over came together, and we saved that. But we have come a long way. The park has come a long way. Cleanups, a new playscape, things that are going on that people who can't believe what that park looks like right now. It's a gorgeous, quiet park right now. So it's I love walking through it right now. It's a quiet walking park is what it is.
And I think the dog walkers always liked it. They never abandoned it.
No, there are so many people that walk their dog through it. And what I really appreciate is because my house borders the park, and I can't see into the park because of the trees, but there's a road that Riverside Park Heights that goes between our house and the park. But you always see them carrying their bags, so that's well appreciated. But you see them constantly walking their dogs into the park. And it's not just like one or two. You could see them all day long walking their dogs, or people riding their bicycles into the park. It's or that, and you can hear the kids and the basketball players all the time. So that's, dog walkers love that park.
And well, we'll have to work on getting your view back. You probably do have a winter view.
We have a beautiful winter view, and I don't mind not having the view in the summer because it's privacy, because there's so many people in the summertime, but the trees, just all the leaves and everything fill in. So it's nice, and it's just part of God's creation, so it's all good. So
Well, I never lived in the neighborhood, and I kind of got involved in a weird way in around 2004 or 5 when Tim Hanser lived on Rosemary Street.
yes,
He
Tim, my
organized
neighbor.
some cleanups at Riverside Park, and I had been there with some of my Head Start students, but it wasn't someplace I went to regularly. But he was my friend, so I went on these cleanups. And at the time, it was a gorgeous park, but it was so overgrown.
Overgrown and
And
neglected.
you couldn't really see into it, which got people to kind of think the worst of it, even
Yes.
though that really wasn't so true.
It's just it was a neglected park. That's what it was, a very neglected, overgrown park.
And in late 2009, Norman Garrick from UConn actually came down to be on the show. Art Costa had met him at a conference, and I invited him for dinner. So he drove from UConn, past Conn College and the Academy, and then to downtown, and then to my house near the hospital. When he got to my house, he said, "It's really weird. Conn College is." Only a mile away from downtown, but from the downtown you would not know there were students. Compared to Mansfield, he was just stunned. And so he started this whole idea of how do we reconnect
Right.
that whole Hodges Square area with the rest of the city, and that included both the business district and the residential areas and Riverside Park. So I kind of got dragged in big time in 2010. That's about the same time we started hearing whispers about maybe selling the park. But I have some slides, and when the original Riverside Park study was done by UConn, they looked at 5 things: connections, circulation, natural resources, recreation, and education. And the first part of it was, where is Riverside Park? And it's there to the right. And I think there are fewer people now who don't know where it is, but it used to be a real problem that people couldn't find it.
There's still people who can't find it because there's not enough signage to say, here it is. And there's few signs that are marked Riverside Park, but it doesn't give you the complete way to get there. So there'll be a sign Riverside Park, but it doesn't continue to tell you where to go to get there.
Right, so you're on Crystal Avenue. It's like, where is this park?
Yeah, it doesn't say, okay, there's an entrance right off of Adelaide Street. You just go up that street and you're lost. It's okay, where's the park from here? And the entrance, when you go up Grove Street from the school, there used to be a staircase down that the children used to use, and that's closed off because it used railroad ties to go down, and that is inaccessible any longer.
Yeah, it got really washed out.
It got washed out, and now they did something for the children from the school. It's not ADA compliant, but they did something at least for the children, because the children go down there every single day except rain or, snow, they do too. They go down into the park every single day, and you can hear the children laughing and screaming and having a ball down in there. So that's great that they can go from the back of their school. They have sidewalks that they implemented, and with the new bollards that they put in there, the teachers just love it because now they can go into the amphitheater, the play basketball, and into the playground without worrying about getting run over by cars that go through or motorcycles or any motorized vehicles going into the park. So that's a great asset.
Well, and I looked way back at some of these things that were done back in 2012 when New London Landmarks got that creative placemaking grant. And one of the things they looked at, of course, was the park. And in this, Northeast New London, the green places are all the green space that's there. And a lot of people live there, even since the Crystal Avenue high-rise was emptied, and so that's 120 fewer families. There isn't a lot of green in that whole area, and what do you do? How do you make sure that people have access to open space and to recreational space? I have to tell you, when I was on the Board of Ed, I think it was the last year that Winthrop School was a neighborhood school, and the fitness level of the kids who went there was just shockingly bad. I think only 2% passed the fourth grade fitness test.
It's sad.
That's really bad.
Yeah.
And it was, and there's this beautiful park that could help. So, yeah, this is what the park looks like from the air in the summer. And these are just a couple of the drawings from the original study. And this one I put on just because one thing that's really confusing to people is that even once you're inside the park, a lot of folks would not feel very safe because there were funny little turnoffs and you didn't really know where they were lead you.
Right.
I heard a rumor that there was a campground at Riverside Park at one time. There was an old newspaper article that City Council was charging 50 cents a night to camp there back in the 1920s.
Oh, wow.
So maybe that's why some of these funny little side roads were built.
But it was much larger at that time.
That's true.
It was
about double.
Yeah, it was double the acreage before land was given away to the Coast Guard.
And for the building of Winthrop School, I think that property, and that was a much smaller bit than what was given to the Coast Guard Academy in the 60s. But I think the land that Winthrop is on might have also been part of the park.
There was some houses there where the school was also.
It was actually before I moved here. So this is sort of a diagram of the roads, and the road network was actually seen as being a real problem in the park, even from the first studies that were done, almost 10 years ago now. So you get in there, where do you go? Where do you find where you have to be?
The road network is very odd because it cuts down the middle of, in between the basketball court and the playground, and then right in between where the amphitheater is and the playground. So and then straight down to the center and to the right is where you overlook the Thames. It's just an odd slicing of the park.
And if you look, I unfortunately don't have a pointer or anything that I can use, but that area sort of on the upper half where three roads converge, one going east to the river, one going north, and one coming in from the south, that's separating the three major activity areas. So if you have a family and they're picnicking and they have younger kids and older kids, there could be, well, in the past, until quite recently, cars could just be whizzing by, separating those areas.
That's why when Landmarks held that, what were they called that they were holding?
Oh, charrettes or?
No, when we were having all those meetings.
Oh, I don't remember.
Everyone was saying all the public that came to those meetings were saying, they were giving opportunities, what's most important to you? They were saying the safety of our children came up as the most important thing, and they asked for those roads to be closed. So when they're having a picnic and they go over to the playground area or to the basketball courts, that would be safety for them. They don't have to worry and sit there while they're eating and their kids run over to the playground or to the basketball court. They don't have to worry about their children. So that was the safety of the family, and family time was the most important thing to them. So during all those workshops, that was voted the most important thing. So.
And after the Emily Shady Spot was built there, that became even more
Yeah.
important. There had been a playground in that general area, another one of the old style playgrounds.
And it was just that whole area with the kids running around. I mean, my grandson and my older son, they used to play Nerf, run around in the area, but you have to be on guard constantly because the car's just whizzing around. That you have to be very leery of that. So it was hard because them riding their bicycles or anything, and cars going through, motorcycles, the dirt bikes. That was very hard, especially if you have, no matter what age your children are. So that was a hard part to watch your children. So that was number one during that. I don't know if it was number one. It was the top thing during the workshop. So.
And even when we started having our down by the Riverside event, and we'd have to ask Public Works for barricades. I mean, that whole area we had to barricade off.
Yes, we always barricaded it for safety for everyone.
So there's been some controversy. I know. I think people hate change.
Right.
And we all kind of hate change. But the placement is very similar to where we used to barricade because it's the logical place to keep people.
Well, I know that schools
from
love it.
driving
I've been down
through.
there a couple of times during different recesses, and they love going down there and for the safety of the kids. So I know the school is enjoying it. It's an extension of their classrooms, so they don't have a problem with it. And that's what it should be about, is the family, the children. So.
Well, and this is another slide from, I think, 2012. And there were a couple of proposals for, changing the traffic flow through the park. But this one, Upper Spine Road, was considered option one. And that's kind of what we have in the park right now.
Right.
They haven't actually, physically gotten rid of the roads. The bollards are removable. Emergency vehicles can get through. Work vehicles can get through, but everyday traffic uses exactly this Upper Spine Road that was proposed, I think, in 2012.
Right.
So I looked at the other options today that had been given, and none of them were any good. Actually, they all brought traffic through that activity area, but this had been the number one choice back 8 years ago.
There was Public Works down there today, working down there. I think there was a police vehicle down there. So they were all, they have access down there. And that's what it should be, the fire, police, Public Works, that should be able to go down there. And they all do have the access down there, so.
And Public Works has always been good to us, that if we are planning a cleanup day and have to get tools in that area, they'll allow us to, use work vehicles.
Public Works does tremendous work throughout the city, especially in Riverside Park, but throughout the city. I mean, they're just amazing with the staff that they have. I just always give them kudos for all the hard work that they do.
And their staff keeps shrinking.
I know, but I just, I think they don't get enough kudos for all the hard work they do. So.
No, they're pretty responsive
Yeah.
too. I actually had a phone call I don't remember if it was this morning or yesterday morning, that I had sent an email, and I got a phone call at 10 after 7 in the morning, responding to the email I had written last night.
Yeah.
So they've really been helpful as we've tried to get things done. Well, I don't know how many people have walked through the park recently. I know you have. It's in your neighborhood, and I really hadn't walked through it till today. So I walked through it, and I took some pictures of improvements that have been done over the last year. I think this pavilion went up about a year ago,
Right.
in June of 2018.
That's at the top of the park. Plenty of parking in that area, new grill, picnic tables up there, a great and it's right by the bathrooms. So that's a perfect area to have picnics for your family, grilling.
And it does have, this road is not closed. I'm guessing it never will be because the
No.
academy also needs access this way. But, some parts of the park, it's a funny park. I don't know if one of the earlier slides showed the elevations, but it's very steep in places. And there
Right.
are some spots that if you don't put stairs in or, ramps, are going to be difficult to navigate.
Exactly. It's not a park that you can, like, right in some areas there, you have to, like where I access the park is, like, I would not walk down the hill that's to the right of that pavilion. That's just too steep for me. I'm handicapped, so I go in towards the basketball court. So that's where I access it. But this is a great area because it's closest to the bathrooms, which were only renovated a few years ago.
Yeah, maybe 5 or 6 years
Yeah.
ago.
Has it been that long?
I think about 2013 maybe. I'm not sure. It's been a while. 2014?
15 maybe. I don't know.
I don't know.
But they are newly renovated, so
And they're still in pretty good shape.
they're in very good shape. There's a water fountain, everything there. So
And in the same area, you can see this plot of land to the left. I think in long-term planning, there will be some play equipment there.
that's where the old playscape used to be with the metal equipment. Metal playscape used to be. I used to put my grandson on, who's going to be so it wasn't that long ago because he's not even 13 yet. So, and straight ahead is where the Coast Guard is. So,
And once again, this whole area is very, very accessible. I mean, we'll see what kind of playscape is put there. I'm sort of lobbying for outdoor musical instruments, but that might be my own.
well, they have that at Toby May, and
Yeah.
some maybe handicap accessible.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
And you can't really quite tell from the photo, but right off the bottom left is where the sidewalk from Winthrop School bottoms out.
Right, the top left.
Well, this is a coast. Well, yeah.
So it would be here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's top left.
So
That's where it ends. So
the sidewalk brings people right to this
and
area.
it's handicap accessible, so it would be, you can roll your wheelchair right off of it. So
And so these are various, I don't know if I quite put these in chronological order, but these are various improvements that have been made by the city. A parking area on Adelaide Street to encourage people to actually walk into the park. You can still drive up that road.
but to the left there is also, there's a grill right in that
There
area,
is.
and there's the entrance to the park right to the left of that, and then there's that gigantic area that all the neighbors in that area, there's grills there and picnic benches. They love to play baseball, but soccer there. A lot of the neighbors that live right in that area grill. Lou and I were driving through, and they were cooking some chicken, and it smelled so good, and Lou knew them, and so he pulled over, and it was like they were pulling it off the grill, and Lou pulled over and got a piece of chicken.
Well, I think that was actually one of the very first grants the Riverside Park Conservancy got, that the people from the neighborhood wanted grills that were very accessible to the neighbors.
Yeah, and that's right for the neighbors that are at Adelaide and Crystal, and that's for the people that live right by Adelaide and Crystal. They love those grills right there. So he pulled right off, and he knew a few of the guys that lived there, and he got out and got a piece of chicken just for him.
Right.
I won't go into it, but
Yeah. And I didn't take any pictures at all of the community garden across the street, but along the fence line of the community garden, there are fruit trees, and they're kind of small. They're only, maybe an inch or so around now, but they're planted inside the fence so we can water them. But as they grow, like a third of them will grow over the fence
That's
to
great,
the
yeah.
outside. So while people are grilling their chicken or burgers or whatever, they'll be able to cross the street
Yeah.
and get an apples or pears, or I think there's at least one peach tree and one cherry tree and a couple of plum trees.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful community garden. So that's a lot of the people in the neighborhood and a few people from wherever, not just the neighborhood, have planted in there as well. So
Well, it's actually really accessible to downtown. You know,
Yeah.
we forget that this neighborhood is really not far from downtown.
no, it's very close.
So we have gardeners who live on Star Street or, you know, other downtown spots where they don't really have a yard.
Exactly. They live over some of the businesses or wherever, and just no yard equals community garden. So that's
Yes.
great.
So that's I guess, you know, one of the reasons I really wanted to do this show was that the city's done things, and I guess, you know, whenever anyone does anything, there are positive and negative reactions. And so one thing that the council approved quite recently were these 3 lights that are solar and wind driven. And I made the mistake of reading the comments in the paper. And, you know, my understanding is that they put these at Riverside Park partly as sort of a pilot program because
Right.
there are several walkways, whether it's the waterfront park or along Pequot Avenue, Greens Harbor, that might be appropriate for them, and it's sort of a pilot program. And I really only went down to see them a few days ago, so they are functional. I couldn't exactly see the solar panels at work, but the windmills were certainly
Were
turning.
going.
And now you were there today, so what's happening in that area?
Public Works was down there installing tables, but so people, once the fence is done and the wall is rebuilt, people will be able to walk in and have lunch. But the lighting will be used as a deterrent at night, so people can't just sneak in there and do whatever they want, which is a problem in any park within the city or any city, town, USA. So I was happy to see that because not that I could see the lighting from our house, but our neighborhood and the Coast Guard, especially the Coast Guard, is probably extremely happy to see that because you don't want anything happening right next door to the Coast Guard for safety reasons. And but they are installing tables right on at the bottom around. I couldn't see exactly, but one of the Public Works people said that they were installing them right next to or to the poles. So tables so people can sit and eat their lunch and view the river. So they're also made an area next to where the bathhouse used to be, and it's just a
I've got another picture
there
that
you
shows
go.
it a
And
little bit more.
so that's going to be a garden area. There's dirt there, and you'll be able. I didn't ask him who's going to plant anything there, but I'm sure Rana will come up with some plants and speak to them
I
about
only have
that.
400 plants sitting in my yard waiting for the right day.
So I'm sure you can call there tomorrow and ask about that. And I just don't know how to get the water down there.
You know, and there must be a pipe nearby, and I'll tell you if we had known exactly what the plans were, but I don't think the city knew exactly what the plans were in winter. They spent the winter trying to sort out what the best use of this area would be.
Exactly.
But I think a water hookup would be a good use of like a grant from the water company.
Right.
just so any gardens in that area could be.
Another water fountain, because
and-
we have a water fountain up
Yeah.
that we got a grant for up by the bathrooms at the
Right.
top of the park. Maybe we could do one with a hookup
Yeah.
for the garden area.
So yeah, it has a lot of possibilities, and the view is really just spectacular there. So yeah, this is sort of still up and coming, and the area to the left actually was a rain garden. It kind of got messed up when there was snow stored there. It was messed up because of just all the work that had
Right.
to be done. But there is, we still have plans to replant that when things settle down a little.
Right.
So to get to this area, though, and this is what's really kind of exciting to me, this is Adelaide Street, and to the right, that house is on the corner of Eastern Avenue and Adelaide, and there used to be a row of Jersey barriers, like right next to that house.
Right across
the
it.
street. And so you really had to stop there. If you wanted to go to that area we just looked at, you had to wind your way through the park.
Right.
And just within the last week or so, I think,
Last 10 days, maybe 2 weeks now.
it's been cleared.
Last Wednesday.
And there are Jersey barriers still there, but they're all the way at the bottom, below the entrance to that area where those light poles are.
Right. It's also blocking the railroad tracks.
Yeah, and right now there's a freight train on it, but
Right.
I'm still hoping someday that we'll be able to get an at-grade crossing, that people will be able to walk to the shoreline part of Riverside
Well,
Park.
I know that Mayor Pastro is working on that with the railroad companies, but that is something he's been trying very hard at.
It's a very big project.
It is a very big project. That's why he's not willing to take down the one that's over the tracks until he has something in writing that they are willing to do that. So until he has that in writing, he's not willing to, that's a negotiating. So,
Sure, that's our leverage.
yes.
And what also was opened up, and I don't think people can really see this too well, but across from Eastern Avenue, there's another entrance into the park. The road's been there forever. But it's had a big gate blocking it
Right.
off. And all these big gates have been removed.
All of them.
And I'm so happy. I crumpled like a fender of a truck on one of those gates. So I guess that'll
Don't
never
tell
happen
Bob.
again. I couldn't hide it. It was pretty bad. But so now there isn't just that main entrance that we're so accustomed to using, but if you drive a little bit farther down, and this entrance is almost right across from Eastern Avenue, and it is like a gorgeous way to get into the park.
I actually saw when I went all the way to the bottom of Adelaide Street today, I saw some bicyclists riding their bicycles across from Eastern Avenue, across Adelaide Street into the park that way, two of them. And it's just like it looks right now. That's what it looked like today with the sun shining through, when the sun finally came out today.
So if you continue on this road, you get to, and this has been a subject of some controversy. Right in the bottom of the middle of this photo, you can see the top of one of the bollards. And there is a parking area just to the right of it that maybe 6 to 8 cars
Right.
can park there. But I kind of wanted to show a photo that was from behind the bollards to kind of see how much people were being forced to walk now from the parking area to the playscape or to the basketball court or the picnic area, because there's been some controversy about it. I know the Pedestrian Advisory Committee has been asked to look at the issue as well. And
What a lovely walk that is. Now you can, just for the record, you can comfortably fit a wheelchair through that, a large wheelchair. Um, I was there when somebody was in there and said, not a problem fitting my wheelchair through that, a motorized one, so not just a regular one. As I mentioned before, I'm disabled, so I walk with a cane, so I don't have a problem getting through that. It's shorter than the distance when you pull in the parking lot of Ocean Beach and have to go carry your stuff to the beach or the third pavilion at Bates Woods. And it's because of the terrain at Riverside Park. That is a flat area, so it's not like you're really walking far. I really don't understand. There's the playground right there, the pink. To the left is the Pine Grove. So there's picnic areas. There's no, there's there's
yeah,
no,
in the past there have been picnic
there's
tables there, but not now.
not now, but they can be put there. There's no.
Well, hopefully there will be a gazebo there at some point.
Yeah, there will be a gazebo there shortly, by the end of the month, but there's no grills there because of all the pine needles. But there's up above, straight ahead is where the amphitheater is. I mean, to me, it's not that far. People are going to say, well, it's for handicapped people. I mean, it's a walking park.
And it's really just the center area that's maybe, I don't know, I looked on the map, and from the bollard to the playscape was somewhere between 150 and 200 feet.
Now,
so I'm thinking the whole area that's kind of closed off is maybe 500 feet from end to end.
And if you park over by the basketball court, it's much closer.
Oh, here. Oh, yeah.
Right there you can park. That's right where the bollard is. Right there you can park and walk right over the basketball court and right to the amphitheater. That's where I park, right there, and walk wherever I want to walk. But, we picnic right over at the amphitheater.
And I have to say, since we started our Riverside Park Conservancy, there has been concern that people playing basketball, which we love having people playing basketball.
Yeah, they play all the time.
But they have in the past tended to park their cars on the grass. And you can see that area of grass just to the left of the road is really pathetic grass because it's been run over so much. And now the basketball players, they might have to park it 50 feet away, farther than they had, but there are two little parking lots just on the other side of the bollard, up going towards Stanner Street.
Right behind there is parking.
That are really convenient. And so that grassy area is also going to be protected. So that is, I think that's kind of what has been done in the park recently and what's in the works for the very near future.
So right to the right of that road that was just on there is where the Pine Grove is, and that's where a new gazebo is going to go. Right to the right of that road is that large Pine Grove, and that's where a new gazebo is going to go, which is be beautiful. The amphitheater is just, it's a beautiful park, but it's not a park like Bates Woods. It's not a park like any other park in New London. So every park has its own uniqueness, and this is not one that is meant to zip through with, just prior to the bollards, when it started getting nice out, I mean, the dirt bikes that were such a problem in New London were whipping through there. So not that they still can't, but it has, and the cars, and that's one thing that the public works people were saying, that they like not having to deal with the cars whipping through there, and the teacher said that as of yesterday, they were saying that they love not having to deal with the vehicles going through there when they have the children in there. Because, and that's what I enjoy, taking my kids down there and not having to worry about that.
And I'm thinking that the risk manager is probably
Can you imagine
very
that?
happy that there are not young children potentially being, near fast-moving cars. Well, okay, so we've talked a lot about Riverside Park, but you are also involved with the Hodges Square Village Association.
Hodges Square Village Association, which came out of the
that creative
placemaking. We formed that, about 5 years ago, and out of the groups that, and what we were trying to do is trying to make Hodges Square basically a village. It's a small area on William Street that people whip through. You think they whip through Riverside Park? They whip through.
Over on William Street.
William Street, and you take your life in your own hand trying to just cross that street. They used to give us those signs that used to slow down traffic, and we haven't seen those in a while. I'm not complaining, but we do ask for them. And but during the school season, they use them throughout New London, trying to slow down traffic around the schools, which I do get. It's we got together. We've done some improvement over in front of the Hodges Square building. Our group, Hodges Square Village Association, which we're under the umbrella of Thames Valley Sustainable Connections. So we've redone the gardening over there. We got with our own, with donations, had the monument, which was behind the Lyman Allen.
I have any pictures that
the
will
Lyman
show
Allen
that.
Museum.
Not really.
No, we got someone to lay the concrete foundation for it because it's an extremely heavy monument. Of course, someone complained that we don't have the water on in the monument. And the reason that is because every day we have, Bike New London that's there now, moved in, right there, Bike New London. Every day Rob has to go out and clean out the nips from the liquor store. From the people who purchase the nips and the bottles and the cigarette butts. So
and alas, the bottle bill putting a tax on the nip bottles did not pass this year.
Cleaning that out and just add water to the mix is pretty nasty. So Bike New London, Rob, has been great for us there. Because he does most of the cleanup. The city of New London, we had our own we purchased our own garbage cans for those areas, but they were graffitied and not large enough. Even though we did spend a small fortune, we spent our own money on those. But the city of New London, because that is their sidewalks are their property, let us have those, and they. Come and empty the garbage and everything, but Rob does the cleanup there. No offense to the liquor guy, but he doesn't participate in anything with us, unfortunately. I wish he did, the liquor store. A lot of, crap on the ground.
There was a huge cleanup about maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
That was kind of sponsored by Bike New London when they were opening there, and I went and did some cleaning up along State Pier Road, and it felt like trash archaeology. Like you took a layer of trash off, then you saw a layer of leaves, and you raked the leaves, and there was the next layer of older trash, and I kind of felt like an archaeologist, although things had only aged probably a year and not like 10,000.
I wasn't there, but I was away. But yeah, it's unbelievable. We are trying to get the owners of Hodges Square building to, put some awnings on and everything. We also have one of our founding members. We have Hodges Square Park, which is right across from Slice Pizza. We had the Coast Guard cadets and Connecticut College students help clean that up and install benches. We have planters there. So that park is a private park because it's owned by our members. And we have benches along William Street there that we've purchased. Half whiskey barrels that are filled with flowers. We are working with the city to get better lighting under the underpasses, but DOT for the last 4 years has dragged their heels, and unfortunately we can't get them to move faster than a dead snail.
And William Street, that part of William Street north of Huntington is a state road.
Is a state road, even though other cities on state roads can get it done. The city of New London has tried so hard to get them to move, but again, it's a dead snail pace. We try and continuously try, but we have. The city's been working with us trying to get. We can't put bike paths down because it's a state road, so it's very hard to do things. We're trying to beautify our city, slow down traffic. Again, it's a state road. A lot of things we can't
and it's
do.
Which is really unfortunate because I think historically, Hodges Square was kind of the hub that connected the downtown with the rest of the city. And it's also, it's so great that Bike New London is there because it's the hub, kind of, if you want to ride your bike to Groton, Hodges Square is where you connect with the bridge.
Right.
And the pedestrian bicycle path to the bridge. So it should be a great place to converge. Now, this is going to be kind of a big weekend in Hodges Square.
It is our first inaugural Arts and Crafts Festival. We have 15 vendors coming, and then 3 food vendors coming. So we have Lyman Allen will be there as well. That's one of our 15 vendors. Quilting, also a quilter. We have a silent auction going with donations from a famous photographer. I don't know if I can say her name. She's head of the library. Fun for the whole family. It's Father's Day, 11 to 4. We do have a rain date. Hopefully it won't rain. Crossing my fingers. So it's the first one we're having, and it's it's right across from Slice Pizza, and right next to Copycats, who's also Forrest Scalar is the co-chair along with me of Hodges Square Village Association. So very excited for it. It's been all over. Facebook, City of New London has put it on their Facebook page.
I saw it on their website too.
Yeah.
So, and another piece of it, and this is the last slide we'll show because we have to give the laptop to Bob. New London Landmarks is hosting a walking tour that's starting at that same afternoon at 1 p.m.
So excited that they're part of this. Yes.
And like Jim Diaz has been part of the whole Hodges Square thing off and on. He lives in the neighborhood as well. So that walk, I think, is meeting up at the mill, but participants are encouraged to go to Hodges Square Pocket Park
Yes.
and hang out there for the day.
Right.
And of course, Riverside Park is just a little bit.
Yeah, we're going to
Go up any
encourage.
hill,
Yes.
and you'll get to Riverside Park.
And we're going to have signs along the way with balloons. We're not going to release the balloons into the air. Because that is not environmentally safe. We will be using them to make funny voices at the end. Something I've encouraged all of the members to do, and we will record it and put it on our Facebook page. They don't know that yet, but lots of activities. Lyman Allen will be doing painting with the kids. We have cornhole activities for the kids. The food is supposed to be really good.
Now, we only have like 2 minutes left, but I guess maybe it was about a month ago that Sybil in the Office of Development and Planning in Thames Valley Sustainable Connections and Hodges Square Village Association had an event at Winthrop School. Just seemed to be sharing ideas for the area and also getting ideas. So can you tell us what kind of things people are thinking about?
Things they want to see. Similar workshop to what we did for Riverside Park, what they want to see in the area of Hodges Square. A lot of them said tree-lined street, slowing down the traffic pattern, the lights, smaller lights, more of a village feel to it. I know DJ's moved right over into the Hodges Square where Portuguese Fishermen used to be. Now DJ's is over there. Bigger area for them, dining area.
Oh, that's great. I didn't know that.
Yep, they just did it last week. So what they're looking, and this was the neighbors that came out for this. So and they taped their ideas with Post-its up on a board, and they asked for their ideas too, what they want in their neighbors. So the neighbors came out for this. It was in the newspaper, and again, it was a great workshop, and this is what they wanted to see. Again, another workshop for the neighbors to say what they want to see along William Street. But again, we need the DOT to someone to click and get it to work.
And so, yes, it's a good idea to keep putting pressure on, I guess. That street is not a neighborhood business zone, I'm into the zoning part, but it is a zone that does serve the neighbors.
And we do need a zoning to change in the neighborhood to be more of a village, not just the same zoning everywhere. It's got to change to be zoned as a village, not as a business everywhere.
So there might be a meeting to come out to sometime soon. Well, we're out of time.
Okay, thank you.
And thank you, Cathi. We'll see you all at in Hodges Square this weekend. And next week, Art Costa will be on the show talking about sustainability and ideas for how New London can do that. So we'll see you then. And thanks again, Cathi.
Thank you.